WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore.
Shut up!
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo this week. That's right. Where in the world is Twitch? He's not quite Carmen Sandiego, but I don't know. I guess he's almost as dastardly. I don't know. I had something in mind for that, but didn't know exactly where I was going with it. So, what can you do? But yes, we've got wrestling things to get into, including a little bit of a surprise that I just found out about moments before hopping on the air here, as far as something I'll be doing a little bit later today, actually. So that's kind of surprising, but yeah, well, we'll get into that a little bit later in the hour here. So couple of things to get into over the course of the week, stuff that happened and things in that nature. First, we'll get into, because I don't like having the bad news linger, so I'm gonna lead off with this here because it at least bears mentioning. We'll put it that way here. So, former Ring of Honor wrestler and valet Taeler Hendrix, she claimed on social media that her run with the company was sabotaged. Cue Beastie Boys theme. No, maybe not. Hendrix stated in a social media post on Wednesday that Jay Lethal told her that she was sabotaged and pulled from Ring of Honor television because she did not sleep with him. This is all allegedly, of course. Hendrix also issued the following public statement on the matter, saying, quote, "Attorneys on my behalf have an ongoing investigation. I know I'm not the only one, and people that have known of this investigation have been supportive. I'll continue to fight for what's right. Let the hate roll in. Doesn't change what happened. I came forward privately long ago, and now it's public. If I stay silent, I'll be part of the problem. I can't live with that. I'll fight for what's right. Threatening me or supposed burned bridges changes nothing. Let the hate roll in." End quote. Now, meanwhile, Ring of Honor, they had a statement regarding it, saying, "We were troubled to hear the allegations that surfaced last night on Twitter. We take these matters very seriously and will be investigating the situation thoroughly, reviewing all evidence related to the matter. Ring of Honor strives to provide an environment and workplace where male and female wrestlers are free from any misconduct or abuse. We will take appropriate action upon the conclusion of our findings." End quote. Now, Lethal, meanwhile, has yet to publicly comment on the matter. So, for the moment, I guess it's a she said, he said thing. I don't know. I guess that's where the investigation comes in. But, I mean, it's never good when there's even allegations of a particular position or spot being determined by certain other behind-the-scenes factors, and that seems to be allegedly what is going on here. It's just, I don't know. Not that I want to take one word against another. I mean, I just hope that it works out rather amicably, no matter what the situation is. I mean, whether the allegations are true or false, that hopefully it doesn't become this whole long drawn out saga and dramatic thing and things of that nature here. At least I certainly hope that's the case, but we will definitely see. Alrighty. So some brighter news here, kind of keeping things on the independent scene for a little bit. Not that Ring of Honor is independent. They're among the top 3 in the country here. But it was announced, we have a match announced for All In coming up in Chicago on September 1st. Kazuchika Okada against Marty Scurll. That has been announced for the All In event. And there are going to be more matches announced in the upcoming weeks, as we're actually, it's quick math here, 8 weeks from tonight is the All In event, the largest U.S. independent show, in this case funded by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. So apparently, there was one match that was supposed to be occurring, but I guess that's pending a title being won, and we'll see how that goes as we go along here. Also, alongside of Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they've got a little bit of a joint effort going on here. Well, they announced at a press conference yesterday that they will be returning to Long Beach, California at the Walter Pyramid on September 30th. And the event will be called the Fighting Spirit Unleashed. And New Japan also announced the Lions Break event featuring their Young Lions for the November 10th and 11th dates in Anaheim, California at the Anaheim Convention Center. So that's for the young up-and-coming wrestlers to be able to be showcased. And, the Young Lions of today could be the, I guess, stars of tomorrow, as tends to be the case here. We're going to go ahead and make our way over to the phones here. And I guess once I mention Chicago, that just seems to almost harbor the mention of this individual, or at least the presence of him. So let's bring him on up here. Dan from Chicago, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
What's going on? That's a great segue.
Occasionally I get those things right.
Dude, why is it so hard to get and so painful to watch a 3-hour Raw? This has been a nightmare. It's been ridiculous. SmackDown is so much enjoyable, but yet their ratings are down compared to Raw. I don't understand this at all.
Well, I will admit that 3 hours on a weekly basis, that is something that has been argued and complained about. I know that there's been a lot of opinions expressed just on this show, let alone others here. I mean, the fact that we're just about finished up with year 6 of 3 hours of Raw.
Yeah.
I guess it's something that hasn't. I don't know. Have people really gotten used to it?
It's bad when. So I've been watching wrestling since 1987, and it's bad when I'm losing interest and wanting to watch other stuff on my DVR and going back to it, and we haven't missed anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bad seeing Roman. I didn't realize Raw was Roman on Monday. That's
Raw is Roman.
Like it was. That's what it seemed like it was. And then the Strowman thing was pretty entertaining. If it wasn't for Kevin Owens and that storyline, I know that's getting a little criticized, and online, but. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't be caring about Raw that much. So I like Kevin Owens.
Well, I think that they've made things at least a little more palatable, I guess, by not having as much of the brand split, so that you don't have an exclusive focus on that. So the stars that you could see them on Raw, you could see them on SmackDown, you could see them on both a particular week, you could see them on neither show. So it's hard to say. Now, I know that. Just some of the opinions that I've seen in various discussion groups and things of that nature. I know that the Bayley and Sasha Banks counseling thing is something that has raised the ire of a lot of people, for example.
See, I kind of thought that was kind of, okay. I mean, it was tolerable. I kind of giggled, and like I said, I giggled with the Strowman and Kevin Owens thing on Monday, but it was kind of like ridiculous in the same way, because why is he going to drag a porta potty all the way through the arena like that, and then that drop that wasn't a drop, they made it seem like it was a drop, and he wasn't even inside the porta potty at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like the whole thing with, they were trying to recreate the whole thing with Mick Foley and Terry Funk when the New Age Outlaws pushed them over the ramp.
With the dumpster.
Yeah.
I can certainly see that, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say that that there wasn't at least a little bit of influence from Vince McMahon, as he certainly does love his humor when Brown is involved. We'll put it that way here to keep things safe.
But it's like, it's so painful, and then when a guy like me, who's been, like I said, following it through the years and never has not yet taken a break, my best friend I talked to over the years, we, fade in and out because of life or whatever, and I'm talking to each other. He's like, "Are you still watching that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "God, we've been watching it since I was a kid, since we were kids." I'm like, "I know." I told him some names. He didn't even realize that Ric Flair's daughter was wrestling because he's, got 3 kids, and he's so busy he doesn't watch it no more. And I had to tell him who she was. And she's like, Dan, I can't believe you're still watching it. I'm like, I know, I can't stop. But yet, I want to stop, but I know if I do stop that something good will happen, and I'll miss out on, you know what I'm saying? I'll miss out on what, something good.
It's that way with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I know that. Along with wrestling, baseball is another hobby of mine, as is Ted
Right,
Efaw,
me
who
too.
follows here. So it's that way where you never know if that next game is going to be the one where you see a no hitter, or where you see somebody hit 4 home runs in a
Right.
game, or you see an outstanding catch, in the outfield, or some sort of a great diving defensive play. Or, a game that goes 20 innings. Those are just a few examples of things that you never know what can happen on a given day. Looking at last night here with the Phillies, for example, they tied the longest 9-inning game going 4.5
I was
hours
following that too. Wow, yeah.
out there
I
in
was following
Pittsburgh.
that. Yeah, that was crazy last night too. But
So hopefully
you see where
they
I'm
have some
coming
runs
from?
to save for the rest of the weekend here. They didn't just put them all out there with the 17 last night.
I know I got Jake Arrieta going on my fantasy team today. I need him to buckle down. So I get it. It's my Cub nerdom. I had to pick him up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course.
So, but you get where I'm coming from. This is seems like it's a chore. It's a chore every week, and it's bad too. My wife, who doesn't love she followed it because of me. You know what I'm saying? And she's dead on the couch. She was playing on her phone on social media. And with it, by 8:45 our time, she's already knocked out on the couch, ready for bed. And she's like, "Oh my God!" And she's getting ready to "Oh sure, something good funny's happening," because she'll hear me laughing with the Strowman stuff. I'm like, "Oh trust me, I'm just trying to think positive on this show." You know what I'm saying? It's just hard.
Yeah, I understand that, and it is something that requires an attention grab. It's one thing when it's once a month for a pay-per-view,
Right.
or a network special, although now with those, for the most part, seeming to expand to closer to 4 hours, it's a question we've been asking for a little while of where is the line as far as giving people what they want versus giving them too much of a good thing.
What we want to is there to be a universal champion who fights once a month, not every three months.
Yeah, there have been a few memes that have been going around the internet regarding that. That sort of resurfaced, I believe, actually, based on a fan sign from this past Monday's Raw, if I remember right. About a fan who I guess has traveled and been to more televised events than Lesnar.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, I forget the exact wording of it.
Right, I've been to more events than Brock has been to in the last year or something.
Yeah, that has been something that has been another thing that's been sticking in the craw of a lot of fans.
What they want to continue with this? I know. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. I'm just really frustrated. What needs to happen? If they want to continue with the split, that's fine. AJ's the WWE champion. He could kind of go, but yet now Raw pay-per-view or Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views are once a month, so you really can't do that. Have them compete on both shows, because what are you going to do then? Have them compete in 2 matches on the pay-per-view? But you could kind of split off on who gets a title shot every other month, and have only one champion, company champion.
It seems like just when they think they're getting used to, okay, we're going to split them apart, then they put them back together, and it makes for interesting challenges when it comes to the lineage. For the long time you had the WWE Championship and the World Championship / WWE or WCW Championship / Big Gold Belt, whatever, whichever wording you want to use on it. And now you have the Universal Champion. It is a challenge, to say the least. And Lesnar having now passed, I guess, the modern record, I guess almost somewhat quietly, because I don't think people wanted to mention CM Punk's name.
No, but yet they're going to do that on something else to wrestle with this week. They're going to let him do that show with something else to wrestle with. They're going to do CM Punk on the network.
Well, maybe it's because it's the Universal Championship and not the WWE Championship. It's like, all right, well, this is an unprecedented record for this title, as he's on 461 days now. Yeah,
and he's only defended the title like at least 10 times, and CM Punk defended his title 151 times or something.
Yeah, there was something about that. I'm trying to quickly pull it up here as we're talking, as far as the number of defenses that Lesnar has had since winning the title way back at WrestleMania 33 last year. And I believe it's pretty close to 10. I mean, I can. Yeah, here we go. I've got it pulled up here. I'm quickly trying to count here, so that goes back to when he won it at WrestleMania. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a non-title. There's 6, there's 7, there's 8, 9. Yeah, there's exactly 10 title defenses since winning the title 461 days ago. The most recent of which being the Greatest Royal Rumble a little over 2 months ago now.
Yeah, it's just sickening. I get that they're trying to make the illusion of it, because Hogan didn't. They're making that excuse where, well, Hulk didn't defend the title that much. Well, technically he did on house shows every month. It's just we didn't see it on TV.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you go back, and now for curiosity's sake, I'm going to take a look at that here. So let's see, won it in 84. I just want to see how many. This is curious and interesting at the same time here. So he won the title, and he also wrestled a bit in Japan while that was going on.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea, from 1984, so Hogan beat the Iron Sheik to win it, and then you have, let's see, one title defense at the Garden, then you have a title defense in Japan. Interesting. Okay, against Riki Choshu. And then you have, David Schultz. Okay, that was before the whole Stossel incident. So then you have 4, 5, 6. So there were 7 title defenses by Hogan in the year of 1984 after winning the title in January. So, I mean, he wrestled other matches, but a lot of them were tag matches, it looks like, that were over in Japan.
At least he was there, though. At least he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. I mean, he beat the Sheik, then he defended against Orndorff. Riki Choshu, that was a New Japan Pro Wrestling show in May. Then his next title defense was later in May, stateside against David Schultz, where he won. Then the brawl to end it all in July of '84, losing, and then the rest were 3 different Madison Square Garden house shows: one in September, one in October, and one in December. Losing by countout to Big John Studd, and then pinning Studd in the rematch, and then pinning the Sheik to end '84. So. I don't know. I mean, then if you go into 85, his next defense wasn't until... Okay, well, he had one in Japan again. That was against Tatsumi Fujinami. That was in February of 85. Then he had the war to settle the score. And then after WrestleMania, there was... it looks like they're mostly, at this point, Madison Square Garden shows. There aren't even any with Rosemont. As I'm looking here, they're all either some semblance of TV taping or in Madison Square Garden. I'm looking here. Okay. You have Saturday Night Main Event taping. You have the Wrestling Classic. You have the King of the Ring '85.
I remember as a kid, I went to one where it was in Rosemont, where it was Hulk Orndorff. If Hulk got disqualified, Hulk would lose the title, and I remember that house show when I went to that one.
That also could have been a little bit later when they started to do more with that, because I see here now, all right, there's one where they had the big event in Canada.
Yeah.
That was in '86. So, but it was sporadic. That's kind of the point that they're making here. Even then, as you look, I mean, not as sporadic, but it was still sporadic. That's kind of the point that I'm getting across here.
Brock though is non-existent though.
And I guess the difference is that at least Hogan was wrestling in other places. It wasn't that Lesnar was just sitting at home hunting, fishing, doing whatever in Minnesota, hunting, fishing, sabling, and the like.
Yeah,
there we go.
I got that one.
Yeah, that's try to keep the synopsis firing here. But I mean, Hogan meanwhile was he was in Japan. He was doing a lot of stuff in Japan, primarily in '84 and '85, and then I guess once things were solidified in '85, they kind of started to quell that. As really looks like his last Japan match was June of '85, and that's probably because at that point Hulkamania and WrestleMania had run wild, and they were like, all right, we've got this thing now, so.
Didn't he go back in after WrestleMania 8 because they were teasing a retirement thing, and he went to Japan?
Yeah, I just mean during that championship run.
Right.
And even really then, he talked about it, but from what I see here, that was actually after winning it back in '93. That wasn't even in '92. He
got it. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. After Yokozuna, you're right. After he beat Yokozuna in '90, in WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. After WrestleMania 8, he beat Sid Justice and then disappeared, I believe, to go film Mr. Nanny, if my memory serves me right.
And to get his steroids out of him.
Well, there was that whole thing too. I mean, I was 11 years old when all that was going on. So
he shrank when he came back. Let's be honest. He was at 303, then he was at 275.
Yeah, he was. As Piper would say on commentary, he was training lean for endurance. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a goodie. Oh man, I was gonna say we are way past the time for a break here, so I gotta.
You know what's sad? Though is. We were talking about current stuff and what happened. We
just went down a whole path of memory lane here from 30 years ago.
That's what the problem is with the current product.
Well, I mean, we were going by comparison of the past, present to past, and then me going on the tangents like I do.
But I perked up though when we were talking about the old school stuff.
True, and then the memories, were there. Maybe that has to do with less exposure. I mean, that's a whole other topic for another day. I mean, there were 4 pay-per-views, even less back then, as opposed to now where you've got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 a year. It's a lot to keep track of. Plus, there wasn't a Raw. It's not like even back then you were keeping track of every match that happened on every wrestling challenge and every superstars and everything else that was going on at that time.
Right. Well, you go get your break.
Yeah, let me go. Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go take care of the sponsors. We'll catch up with you next week. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All right, Dan from Chicago, getting me off on tangents galore here. So we'll be back. We've got a look at the local scene with Ed from Northeast Philly and a whole lot more stuff. Fearon Derry flying solo today, but also chatting with you out there. You can chime in as well. 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's prescription drug and heroin addiction hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment, regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP.
I'm glad you called. We're going to get you some help.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
St. Jude exceeds any expectation or any dream I could have ever had about a hospital. I was told we wouldn't get a bill. I didn't quite process that. How's this possible? It's possible through all the wonderful people who donate. I don't know if they are aware of what they do, but they're saving children's lives every day.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Win tickets to see the Phillies or Trenton Thunder from the Italian People's Bakery in Levittown. Just fill out an entry blank at the Italian People's Bakery at Woodburn and Oxford Valley Roads in Levittown. Weekly drawings to win tickets to see the Phillies or Thunder. The Italian People's Bakery, where everything is baked fresh on the premises, is open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sundays till 5 p.m.
It's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so we might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go.
All
That's
right.
what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry flying solo today as Lucas is somewhere. I believe he might actually be down at the factory working a birthday party. He was earlier in the week down in Alabama, but I believe he is back from that. I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, only sometimes he's harder to track. Despite social media. Go figure. All right, other news to get into. So Ronda Rousey announced in a video interview released by WWE that she will be appearing at Extreme Rules despite the suspension. And here's Renee Young to have a chat with her about that here.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. Well, Ronda, now that you've had time to reflect on everything, how are you feeling about being suspended from Monday Night Raw?
Well, I 100% support Kurt's decision. It's his job to uphold the rules. But that said, I don't regret any of my actions, and I'd do it again if I had the chance.
And the consequences for Alexa Bliss, is there anything that you'd like to say to her right now?
I've already made my statement.
Okay, and what's your reaction to Alexa Bliss now having her title defense against Nia Jax at Extreme Rules?
Well, I'm excited, really, for that match. I'm so excited, in fact, that even though I'm suspended from Raw, I'm not suspended from Extreme Rules. So I'm going to be buying a ticket. It's going to be a front row ticket.
Well, Ronda, thank you so much for joining me, and I guess we'll see you at Extreme Rules.
Guess you will.
Wow. That just goes to show a challenge with interviewing people. If they have very short answers, it tends to be a bit of a struggle. Almost as many awkward pauses as the old Craig Ferguson, The Late Late Show. I would have that as one of the options for the interview guests. Wow, there's a interesting throwback. Yeah, go and look that up on the interwebs. Those are some fun times. Craig Ferguson is hilarious. And let's go ahead, while we've got a moment here, to take a look at the local scene, courtesy of Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Good afternoon. Did you ever notice that Ronda Rousey never smiles much?
Well, it's that intensity all the time.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's a UFC thing. I mean, did you ever see Ken Shamrock smile that much?
Mm-hmm. Not really.
Dan Severn?
No.
Yeah, no, you don't generally tend to see, you don't tend to see the pearly whites too much. It's usually that look of either stoic intensity or just pure raw anger.
Yeah, and sometimes you could tell it in her eyes, too.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of that going on as well. So what have we got going on here locally today, Ed?
Sorry about that. Anyway.
That's all right. keeping me in check here.
New York has SummerSlam Heatwave Tour tonight at 7:30 at the Madison Square Garden.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, as I found out maybe about an hour before I hit the airwaves here that apparently I'm going to that tonight, and it will be my first time ever at Madison Square Garden for any event. I got a little bit of a compensation. I'll be meeting the good old Fugazi wrestling fan who makes an appearance from time to time on the show here. He's already up there watching them kick around that black and white ball, because that's a big thing going on right about now, that World Cup something or another. But that's in New York, so I'll be meeting him up there, and we'll be checking things out tonight. And I'll have a nice review of that and my take on the Garden, because I know of how it's hallowed halls for, wrestling and a bunch of other things, and it'll be a cool feeling to finally be able to check it out, especially considering I'm only about an hour and a half away, and I haven't all these years. What the heck's the matter with me?
They have Reigns, Undertaker, Ronda Rousey, Seth Rollins, Alexa Bliss, KO, and Elias, Jinder Mahal, and Braun Strowman.
It should be a good night. I'm anticipating what kind of fun it'll be, just being in that atmosphere, because it feels like Madison Square Garden has kind of become the redheaded stepchild of the New York area, considering that WWE has the new shiny toy of the Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Yes. And don't get deleted.
No, I will definitely not, although I'm sure if Lucas were here, he would try to declare me obsolete, but that's a whole other story.
Up there too.
Oh, of course. Well, I don't know about Bray Wyatt necessarily. That's a story we were...
show last night. He competed.
Okay, because there was a little concern. I was going to go over this. I'll go over it now. It looks like he seems to be fine. I didn't hear much of an update, but Bray Wyatt last weekend had suffered multiple injuries in a car accident last Friday when he was heading to the airport. His car was totaled, and he missed last weekend's house shows as well as Raw because of the collision. He was released from the hospital in Tampa, Florida, and it looks like he was good to go last night, but there was some concern, at least for the moment he was scheduled and now still is scheduled to defend the Raw tag titles alongside Matt Hardy against the B Team, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view 1 week from tomorrow. And TMZ catching up with Wyatt following the accident, he simply told them, quote, "I'm going to live through it because I can't die." Oh, Bray. And interestingly enough, Wyatt was cited for careless driving following the 3-car accident that happened last Friday. And TMZ reporting, noting that the police report described Wyatt as inattentive. Interesting.
Oh, it was his fault then?
I guess that's where it's going with it. I don't know if, in terms of vehicular accidents, if Florida is an at-fault state. That is much more legalese than I only know a little bit about here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey from having to deal with things like the occasional fender bender from somebody else, and one time having my car totaled while I was at a complete stop, and other fun things like that, and also the occasional deer, but.
Watch out for them deer.
Yeah, that was brutal, but that's a whole nother story for another day.
Seth Rollins is in Freehold right now.
That's right, over at I Play America.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's going to be there. It started at 11.
I can't imagine it going too much longer.
Maybe they usually run about 2.5 hours, maybe.
Well, according to it was sold out anyway. It just it says that the event started at 11, the doors opened at 10, and they had the various packages, but it doesn't say how long it is. But even if he was still going to be there for a bit longer of a time, the event's sold out.
Yes, and Shinsuke is there at the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, that's yes, on Sunday the 29th.
At 9 a.m.
Ooh, a morning meet and greet. I think I'll be doing a little bit of, tickets look to be still available for that, but I will be recovering from the events the night before, which are yet to be fully determined.
Matt Tremont has a show tonight in Williamstown, New Jersey.
that's right.
H2O Wrestling.
Yes, the H2O. I was going to say, I couldn't... so many events, it's kind of hard to keep track of these mentally here, but... yeah, that's right. That is tonight, 7:30 as well. They're calling it Opening Day Prove Yourself, and it looks like they have what looks to be a baseball diamond, but it looks like the bats are wrapped in barbed wire, and it's pretty clever. Although I don't know if that's the kind of baseball I want to see necessarily.
They have Maria Maniac, DJ Hyde, Amy Lee, Matt Tremont, and Shellac and Kit Osborne.
Oh yeah, I see here, and DJ Hyde's scheduled here. Aeroboy and Alex Cologne. Yeah, there should be a few fun things there. Like I said, if I didn't already have the plans, I'd certainly give that some consideration. But definitely want to check it out. It's a little bit more local here in Williamstown, New Jersey.
And that's about it for now. I know you're up against a break.
Yeah, no, I gotta play a little bit of catch up here, but I certainly do appreciate it, and we'll catch up more next week with things a little bit more similar.
Hope you had a nice holiday.
Yeah, I actually had the holiday off. I was able to enjoy. Actually, I was over in Southampton for the Southampton Days fireworks show that they do every year on the 4th. They have a little carnival there right by Klinger Middle School, I believe it is, and it's always a good time. I have friends who live right by there, and I've been going to check that out when I haven't been working for the better part of the last 15 plus years.
Getting back to Bray Wyatt for a second, he didn't look out of step. He kept doing those power bombs off the rope.
Well, as a professional wrestler, you have to certainly have a high threshold of pain. Now, I don't think it was stated what exactly the extent of the injuries were. So they may have been multiple but minor, which explains why he's able to come back that quickly.
Injured ribs.
Oh, yeah. Ribs are no joke. I was going to say, I actually had to go see a doctor earlier this week because what I thought might have been something with my heart, it turned out it was a rib contusion at the rib that is right around where my heart is. So I was like, all right, let me just make sure I'm not going to keel over anytime soon. But now it's just a rib contusion. I think it was from... I don't know. I was going to say that we have to put Lucas on the payroll real quick, but I don't think we need to give Ted any more heartaches here.
No.
Heartaches by the number, right? That's the old tune. Guy Mitchell, I think. I don't know. Going back to the chart toppers from earlier this morning, but that's notwithstanding
right,
here.
I'll see you next week.
Yep, we'll catch up with you next week here. Appreciate the call, as always, from Ed from Northeast Philly. And, well, speaking of the injury front, Ruby Riott suffering an MCL sprain in her left knee at a WWE live event last weekend. No timetable for her return was provided, but the good news is it was a sprain and not a tear. So a tear would have been a lengthy recovery of many months as opposed to a sprain, depending on the severity. Recovery time usually a matter of weeks. So that is good news to behold. Well, it is a little bit beyond that time, so what time better than now to let you know that we are in the dog days of summer at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA, where tonight a guest food truck will be on site, Doggone It Dogs. Wonder if they'll have the stuff to be able to make the old favorites of the Goblet, the John McClane and the Uncle Paul, the hot dogs with sriracha, bacon, and cheese, and the hot dogs with peanut butter, jelly, and marshmallow fluff, respectively. Don't judge me. It's delicious. I wish they could get it back. We'll see soon. Plus, tonight there'll be a night of friendly competition with a Jackbox.TV tournament. Lots of the Jackbox trivia games and things of that nature, like Murder Mystery and Fibbage and things of that nature. Plus, some of the fantastic brews on tap include a Broken Batch Big Bad Troll, a stronger version of their Angry Troll Amber. Also, the Hefner Weiss beer, the wheat beer with hints of banana and cloves. Also, the Gyroscopes and Infrared IPA, a Broken Batch Saison, a lower ABV version of their flagship Under Her Spell Saison. Fall of Risengard, a black rye ale, as well as, thankfully they made a very large batch of it for the last go-around, but the Jason Kelsey beer, No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. And that is also available in Crowlers if you didn't get the chance to get it before. So definitely go on down for that. And we are just 1 week away. That's right. Next Saturday, July 14th, the Broken Goblet celebrating their 3rd anniversary, 4 years in business, with a giant send-off party to the town that they have called home for those 4 years in Bristol. And a thank you for another year of peace, hops, and music in the festival known as Goblet Stock 4. Live music on the outside stage. Food from various food trucks. The party's free to attend, rain or shine, the beers being $5 each, and almost 50 beers on tap, all of the Broken Goblets varieties, including some of the autumn beers like All Goblets Have Spirits and Cut the Crap-O-Lantern. The 2016, 17, and 18 versions of Bubba's Teabag, a mango cayenne pepper sweet stash, so a wheat beer with some mango and cayenne pepper for a little bit of heat. Also the Not the Gumdrop Buttons Brown Ale, the Strawberry Hefner, just to name a few. Kids are welcome and bring suitable attire for the water slide or potential monsoon. Although, at least looking at the 7-day forecast, it looks like it's not going to be too bad. I mean, well, we still have a little bit of time for that all to be shaken out here. Just to give you an idea, it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly, and note this is one of many warnings that the Broken Goblet will be closed on Sunday, July 15th for cleanup from Goblet Stock 4. So keep that in mind. Going to come back. We've got some more stuff to get into and interesting today in wrestling history. A very notable historic event that occurred on this date 22 years ago. And even still, it is, even though it was not for life, it is still just too sweet. All that and more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
I'm Jean Coyle, President and CEO of Penn Community Bank. Penn Community Bank is truly different from most banks you hear about. We operate under a mutual charter. We are not publicly traded. We have no outside stockholders. We exist to serve our communities. What does this mean for you? Fair fees, local decisions, and a long-term strategy focused on our customers. Check us out at penncommunitybank.com.
Penn Community Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we're kicking off another summer of shellfish. We have seafood specials every day of the week. On Saturdays, we have the biggest crab feast you have ever seen. It's a pound of snow crab, Dungeness crab, 3 hard shells, and our own special crabby corn, and it's delicious. On Sunday, check out our new seafood sauté. Clams, mussels, shrimp, lobster in our own homemade sauce. Visit chickyandpete's.com for your summer of shellfish calendar and detail.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
Hello, I'm Dan Breen of Bucks County River Country, the world's river tubing capital. And I'm out here on the Delaware with a bunch of other folks. Hey, guys!
Hey, Dan!
And we're having the time of our lives. Listen, if you haven't been to Bucks County River Country, you don't know what you're missing. We've got tubing, canoeing, kayaking, rafting, and our tiki-style Riverside Cafe to whet your palate. You'll have loads of fun with the family, friends, or even a company outing. See for yourself. Check out our webcam at rivercountry.net. And while you're there, make your reservations online. Discounts are available for groups of 20 or more. Remember, the average water temperature is 80 degrees, and it's so easy to get here. We're just 8 miles north of New Hope, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out on the most fun you could have this summer. Come to Bucks County River Country, the world's river tubing capital. Hey, Holmes, we love to see you wet.
Buy your season pass for Bucks County River Country online today at rivercountry.net. That's rivercountry.net, or call 215-297-5000.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, July 7. On this date in 1990, the NWA held its Great American Bash pay-per-view. In the main event, Sting pinned Ric Flair to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 1996, WCW held its Bash at the Beach pay-per-view. In the main event, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and mystery partner Hulk Hogan defeated Lex Luger, Randy Savage, and Sting in a 6-man tag team match. On this date in 1997, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. In the main event, Bret Hart pinned Goldust. On this date in 2008, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from New Orleans, Louisiana. In the main event, Batista defeated John Bradshaw Layfield, John Cena, and Kane in a 4-way match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, July 7. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you solo. Lucas is, I guess we'll call him out on assignment. That's probably a good way of putting it here. So, yes, as you heard there in the Today in Wrestling History segment, it was Bash at the Beach 96, 22 years ago today, that Hulk Hogan was the third man, and we heard Bobby Heenan infamously yell, "But whose side is he on?" And everybody thought Hogan was coming out to help the good guys, Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger. And next thing you know, he drops the leg, I believe it was on Savage, and of course, because got to quell Savage any chance he gets, and ends up joining Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, to form the New World Order of Wrestling, better known as the NWO. Oh, man. 22 years ago. What the... All right. Can't believe I was 14, almost 15 when that was going on. Where does the time go? Well, speaking of time moving on, somebody who has spent a good amount of time in WWE but was also away for a little bit is reportedly on his way back. According to WrestlingStandard.com, they're reporting that Rey Mysterio is penciled in to return to WWE soon after he supposedly put pen to paper on a new 2-year deal with the former company. Or his former company. The 43-year-old's deal will begin on August 1st, with Mysterio returning potentially as early as SmackDown in Brooklyn 2 days after SummerSlam. Mysterio met with WWE officials about a week and a half ago when Raw came to San Diego, California, and despite Vince McMahon's absence at the show, this was when the deal was ironed out and negotiations were finalized. And the deal is said to be separate from the contract he signed for his involvement in the WWE 2K19 video game as a pre-order bonus character. Probably from all of the hype of his return earlier this year at the Royal Rumble, as well as at the Greatest Royal Rumble out in Saudi Arabia a little bit earlier this year. Former NFL running back D'Angelo Williams, he's working with Impact Wrestling again, and here's what he had to say about it to Josh Matthews in this video acquired by TMZ.
DW, it's great to see you back in an Impact Wrestling ring. We're going to talk about Moose in just a second. As I said, it's great to see D'Angelo Williams back in an Impact Wrestling ring.
I said I'd never do this again, but I'm back in the ring.
Well, let's talk for a second about what you've been up to since Slammiversary, since we saw you in this ring competing.
Well, I haven't been doing much of nothing other than help training Moose. We've been in the back cave. I would tell you where, but I can't tell you where because there's cheaters in the back that's trying to figure out what he's doing. We're trying to bring home that gold.
So you have been training with Moose extensively. How's that training been going?
Oh, he looks great. He's dropped a lot of weight. He's put on a lot of muscle. He's definitely ready. He's definitely ready to bring home the gold. I think he's going to be flashing that thing because the guy he's going against, I think he's trash.
There you have it. Already talking a little bit of smack, but yes, D'Angelo Williams. He worked a tag team match with Moose at last year's Slammiversary in a victory over Chris Adonis and Eli Drake. And 3 days after competing in that match, actually 1 year ago this past week, he announced he was leaving professional wrestling, presumably to try and sign on with an NFL team. But being a running back in his mid-30s, a position that you rarely see top production from beyond the age of 30, there were no callers. So Williams is back, though it's yet to be determined for how long. Another Impact news, they issued a press release that their upcoming Slammiversary pay-per-view on July 22nd will stream live exclusively on FITE.tv in the UK and other international markets. The main event for that's going to be that former offensive lineman for the NFL, Moose, challenging Austin Aries for the Impact World Championship. Also, the Undead Bride, Sue Young, defends her Knockouts Championship against former 5-time title holder Madison Rayne. And Slammiversary will also feature the returns of Johnny Impact, or Johnny Nitro, or John Morrison, or all the other different names, who will be featured on the 37th season of Survivor. 37? Feels like that only debuted like 16 years. Well, that's right. They do the I guess they're literal seasons at this point, but that throws me for more than a bit of a loop. It was only the early 2000s, right? I'm not losing my mind on that. They're really up to 37 seasons? Really? I don't know. Also, New Japan Pro Wrestling star, the Bone Soldier of the Bullet Club, Taiji Ishimori. So that's all coming up for Slamversary in a couple of weeks here. Also, in some other Japanese news, WWE officially announcing the signing of Japanese star Io Shirai, I should say, at last Saturday's live event in Tokyo, Japan. The 28-year-old is an 11-year veteran and a standout in the Stardom women's promotion in Japan, and WWE came close to signing her about a year and a half ago, but a medical issue with her neck and heart caused the company to pull their contract offer at the time. And one other Impact tidbit, they announced on Wednesday they have an agreement to air its weekly show in Mexico on Saturday nights on channel 52MX, and that's debuting tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So next week we'll take a look at the Extreme Rules lineup and get the predictions certain to go wrong. So far, 9 matches up on the card. A couple added over the course of the week. So we've got Finn Balor against Constable Baron Corbin. Reigns and Lashley's in there. The Extreme Rules match is going to be Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, and we'll see how Ronda Rousey comes into play. Also, AJ Styles and Rusev for the WWE Championship. Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Jeff Hardy against Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. Championship. Wonder if we'll have the whole, bad guy Japanese holder of a U.S. title storyline going on. Also, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt against the B Team, as we mentioned earlier. Carmella against Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title, and the Bludgeon Brothers against the reunited Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane for the SmackDown Tag titles. So, we're just about at that point, so let's get on into the
birthdays!
Lucas. That just chokes him up, literally and figuratively, I guess. All right, 2 + 3 Brucey bonuses, a little light this week. On this date in 1950, Armando Guerrero was born, the member of the legendary Guerrero wrestling family, brother to Eddie, Hector, and Chavo Guerrero Sr., as well as uncle to Chavo Guerrero Jr., as well as, and this is something I didn't know until recently, trainer of the wrestlers of the original Glow series, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling back in the 80s, better known as Mondo Guerrero. He turned 68 today. Always fun how you get those little strange tidbits when it comes to the Guerreros. Kind of like how I didn't know that Hector was the gobbledygooker back in the infamous 1990 Survivor Series pay-per-view. And on this date in 1987, the same year the Survivor Series debuted, Richard Blood Jr. was born. The retired NXT wrestler and son of Hall of Fame wrestler Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, better known as Richie Steamboat, turns 31 today. Some back issues and subsequent surgeries causing him to end his career early a couple of years ago in his late 20s. Now to the Brucey bonuses. Things outside of the world of wrestling. Got 3 here for you. On this date in 1927, Carl Hilding Severinsen was born. The jazz trumpet musician, best known for being the band leader of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. You'd know him better as Doc Severinsen. He turns 91 today. Yeah, 91 and still with us. Another interesting musician name here from this date in 1940, Richard Starkey was born. Who's that? Yeah, the legendary English musician, best known by his stage name, drummer for the Beatles, Ringo Starr. He turns 78 today. I probably shouldn't do that. I can't do a Liverpool accent. Who am I kidding? That sounded more Australian? Well, sorry about that, Bruce. Okay. And on this date in 1969, I'm going to get letters for that. This date in 1969, Cree Summer Franks was born. The actress, singer, and voice actress known for voicing characters in shows like Tiny Toon Adventures, Rugrats, Drawn Together, and Clifford the Big Red Dog, among many others. That's right, Elmira from Tiny Toon Adventures, and yeah, that's right, Foxy from, never mind. But known professionally as Cree Summer, she turns 49 today. That's going to just about do it for me here. Teddy Faw, he's up next with the Country Road Show, an abbreviated version, as we've got Phillies baseball. We'll see if it can go a little bit shorter than yesterday, but hopefully with a similar result of a win. And until next week, play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
celebrating 60 years of broadcasting excellence. We're 1490 WBCB.